It's another case of family injustice. When will it ever end?
I have no idea.
And quite frankly, stupid that we have to remind lawyers that this kind of stuff really matters to people. These are family fights. People want a lawyer who's going to go to the mattress for them. And they may not hire a lawyer if they know they're like buddies with the other guy. In Texas, there's no cap on the amount of time a divorce can play out in court, no matter how much it costs taxpayers to watch it unfold. And maybe there should be.
With luck.
The lawyers want to get paid. Family law lawyers, they make money getting paid per hour to let their clients fight. So they're not going to support that type of legislation.
Family law is a business, and that's the horrible part of it, because it's about
which has prevented other legislation from passing. I get it.
Absolutely not. How can I trust someone who's in bed with opposing counsel? Doesn't make sense.
A good week. God, somebody.
Thank you.
Mindy Comstock says she gave a blank check for $60,000 to Rick Ramos once to give to her appeals lawyer. She left it intentionally blank because she didn't know the lawyer's name. But when the check was cashed, it had Rick Ramos's name on it.
The appellate lawyer said he never received those funds. The most that he's been paid was $15,000. And I think there was a lot of hiding the nut in this case, and we were too naive to know what was going on.
Ramos hasn't yet sent a refund check to Mindy Comstock. Trump filed a formal criminal complaint against Rick Ramos 2 months ago. So did Mindy Comstock. The Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg hasn't contacted either one, or the bookkeeper who blew the whistle months ago. She claims Ramos has now sent her a letter telling her to stop talking. That's what happens when the DA's office drags its feet.
It seems like something that the DA's office should care about, that there are family attorneys taking advantage of families who hire them.
Houston real estate investor has spiraled into dozens of investigations into legal malpractice.
What's going on, my friend? What you up to?
Not much.
Huh? Don't touch my face with your camera.
Judicial misconduct.
I had no idea that I was being betrayed by my own lawyer.
Campaign connections.
Get out of my face. Don't you have enough film already?
From Houston.
You know, these lawyers have control of everything, and they're not protecting you. They're not doing what they need to do for you. It seems like they're just billing you.
To Fort Worth. Should family lawyers ever feel guilty making millions of dollars off people's family dramas? Does it ever bother you? To Central Texas, and clients across the country have started reaching out for help.
Yeah, it's all just dishonesty upon dishonesty. They make up the rules as they go along.
And all Avi Ron wants is a final chapter written.
And we're still citizens of this county, and we have rights too. Just because we get divorced, we don't need to be victims.
Divorce is ugly, especially when big money is involved. Avi Ron has tried to warn Houstonians for a long time now about some of the city's big divorce lawyers.
Just because I'm rich, I may choose to give my money to charity or to university or to a hospital, not to divorce lawyers who don't need my money, who make it their business to make these painful, ruined families along the way so they can enrich themselves.
Robert Hoffman, hit by multiple allegations of malpractice. And Bobby Newman, whose firm and family spread out campaign cash on the very judges who hold the purse strings in divorce cases. So
I got into this area of law for the never-ending drama and the entertainment factor that these cases bring to our lives.
The associate judge who granted Newman's divorce was Paula Vlahakis. After she got off the bench, she got divorced too. And guess who she hired to help her? Bobby Newman. We know who filed the divorce petition for Newman. It was Robert Hoffman.
Don't touch my face with your camera.
Another of Suzanne Ron's lawyers. Hoffman filed for his own divorce in September of 2016, and court records show he was finished by early February the next year. It only took 4.5 months to end the entire case. So if divorce lawyers have figured out a way to get out of their marriages quick and without spending a lot of money, I'd love to have you on Dolcefino Consulting so you could share your wisdom and guidance with all the other folks out here. Listen, judges are starting to get the message. A few of them have actually stopped taking big campaign contributions from divorce lawyers. What a good idea. Judges should send another message. Divorce and custody fights are ugly enough without worrying about how much money the lawyers make for their bank accounts and their private planes.
Everybody should be treated equally. Lawyers are not above the law.
This county courtroom.
There needs to be a lot more transparency and more ethics, less corruption.
You met Sarah Hayden back in 2018. She's been in family court with her ex, fighting over divorce and visitation with her own kids for more than 6 years, much of the kids' lives. And she's one of the family injustice victims who worried that money influences justice.
One of the top things in my to-do list and my bucket list for life, is to get this fixed so more families and more children don't suffer.
Reporting on judicial ethics amounted to some kind of crime. Really? Well, Mr. Daughtry, here's another one for you.
We made it. We got elected. The people said it was time for a change.
Bobby Newman's law partners didn't give the new Judge Jermaine Tanner a single penny when she ran for office. But they must be sudden believers. In the 12 days after she won election, partner Earl Lilly gave $5,000. Another partner, John Van Ness, gave $2,000. The firm now accounts for half of all the money the judge got in her last campaign finance report. Newman didn't give any money himself, but of course he became a tad radioactive after the Lombardino scandal. Maybe Mr. Newman's partners are just trying to get a jump start on the next judge's election. It's only 4 years away. Or maybe they saw a relationship with the new judge as, let's call it an opportunity. But Tanner's campaign report should raise other questions. In the weeks after her victory, Tanner got almost as much money as she did in the entire final 4 months of the campaign. And it's not just Bobby Newman that caught our eye in court the other day. Have you ever noticed that court fights are kind of like weddings? Folks tend to sit on one side or the other, the bride's side or the groom's side. It's like that in court. We noticed this woman sitting with Newman's legal aides in court. She's the one yucking it up with them later. She's a lawyer named Sarah Razavi Zond, a lawyer who's also become a sudden believer in Judge Tanner after the election. Zond gave $5,000 to Judge Tanner the very same day as Newman's partners did. She's an Iranian American. So is Sarah's ex-husband. And maybe that's just a coincidence. Zond isn't a lawyer of record for Sarah's ex, so maybe she was just bored that morning and wanted to say hi in court.
I'd like to see which attorneys contribute to which judges, how much they give.
We checked. Zond is involved in a second case in front of Jermaine Tanner, and it's an interesting one. It involves a father who's firing guns in his house at people who aren't there, while his 5- and 8-year-old daughters are home. Jersey Village police have responded to the house 13 times. Recently, they had to take the kids away and send the dad to Ben Taub Hospital after he was attacking invisible people in his attic. Yeah, that's right. Sarah Razavi Zond is the lawyer for James Ferris, and Judge Tanner has given him unsupervised visitation with his 2 young girls. Despite repeated allegations, he is psychologically disturbed. Judge Tanner has been asked twice to limit James Ferris' contact with his children. She hasn't done it, even after a call to 911 that the dad had now fired a gun in the house. He apparently thought he was holding invisible intruders hostage. Jersey Village police took him to the hospital. The affidavit recounts a text quoting, "At my house we play the game of death, and I'm the hunter." Not surprisingly, Mom believes he's unable to properly care for our children. On Dolcefino.com, she can clearly see her husband's lawyer as one of the judge's biggest campaign contributors. I've been screaming for a while that we should not elect judges in Texas, that no one should worry that money from a lawyer influences justice. If Texas lawmakers don't fix that, they ought to fix this. When a judge gets money from a lawyer practicing in her court during a case, they should have to disclose it immediately. Judge Tanner's last campaign report was filed January 15th, and she's not required to file again until July 15th. So Sarah Hayden won't know for months if Bobby Newman or his buddies give the judge a campaign contribution the very night before an important court hearing, like the one we watched.
Anything is possible.
Jermaine Tanner was a family lawyer for 15 years before becoming a judge. The new judges promised to clean all this stuff up so that we don't have to keep doing sequels. Friday afternoon, Judge Tanner ruled the entire Texas Supreme Court, well, they got it wrong. She's been on the bench 3 months, and she knows better, forcing Sarah Hayden to eventually go outside Harris County again for justice. Judge Tanner, she's clearly a judge to watch a lot closer.
47 years, 48 years, and it's always been a felony, and there's a reason why it's a felony.
George Saldana has been fighting a war for his little guy, Christopher, for more than 5 years. Visitation first denied back in the fall of 2017.
I called law enforcement, Precinct 4. Precinct 4 stated that if I wanted to find my child, I needed to hire an attorney.
Even when he found where Christopher was, he still couldn't get to see him. A full 2 years would go by. You can watch on YouTube what happened right after Christmas in 2019. His ex-girlfriend answers the door, but won't let him in to see his son. The cops come.
I'm gonna go ask her down on your behalf if she's willing to release the kid. If she's not, then it's gonna be documented and we're done. Okay?
But wait till you see who got arrested.
A court order. I have a court order supposed to pick up my son, and I'm getting arrested for criminal trespassing.
Saldana gets arrested for trespassing, a misdemeanor, but his ex doesn't get arrested for interference with child custody, a felony. It took almost 3 years to get Judge Sandra Peak to hold Carolyn Pena in civil contempt of court for the repeated violations of the court order, and then she was placed on probation for 10 years.
She violated 5 more times, and we entered a motion to revoke.
It was just 6 weeks later, but Saldana couldn't get another court hearing until May of 2021, even by Zoom. That's another 6 months, a lifetime for a parent already cheated out of so many memories.
It took me years to scrounge up the money that I didn't have because to fight.
Brian Greer fought for months to see his daughter. He records his unsuccessful attempt to pick his own daughter up from daycare. Listen to the cop. It's a civil matter. He says, I can't get involved. And that's just not true.
All I can tell you is you gotta go home and contact your lawyer.
You're reaching out to law enforcement, you're reaching out to the judges, you're reaching out to the DAs, trying to get some type of action. It minimal for something to be done, and nothing.
Cody Martinez has a court order giving him sole custody of his 6-year-old boy, Easton. It's a court order that isn't worth the paper it was written on. He hasn't seen his son in more than 6 months, and the Harris County District Attorney, Kim Ogg, she won't press charges.
And what do you say to that?
I don't know what to say to that.
But you must be pissed.
Yeah, absolutely.
George Saldana got that message loud and clear from Ogg's assistant DA, Beth Barron. He recorded the conversation, and you need to hear it.
We're going to file a felony when there's a judge already dealing with this matter.
Saldana was thrown out of a recent Zoom court hearing with Judge Peak.
I told the judge, when are you going to enforce your orders? And she told me 5 times, sir, I'm going to need you to quit talking. And I said, ma'am, it's been 3 years. I've been asking you to enforce your orders. I need you to enforce your orders.
The judge says Pena's doing better at providing visitation, but for how long? How much more money, how much more time will George Saldana have to spend?
And there's no more milk to get out of this cow. And so, that's the racket that a lot of parents are facing.
What were you upset about, sir? Society not letting me see my son. I lashed out at somebody that didn't deserve it.
Otis McCain admits he shot and killed a San Antonio police detective because no one would help him get to see his children. Detective Benjamin Marconi was just a symbol of a parent's frustration.
There are many questions that I want to ask her why she did it.
Just weeks shy of his 7th birthday, Jason Sanchez was murdered, poisoned with a cocktail of cocaine, meth, and NyQuil. The cops say his mom did it for $100 grand in insurance money.
¿Cómo estás, mi amor? ¿Tienes tu novia?
Jason's dad had gotten TB and was sick for a while, but when he got better, he was denied the right to see his own son for months. Another case of interference with child custody. Another child murdered.
If the DA and law enforcement would try to enforce these laws, maybe they wouldn't find kids dead.
How many more kids have to die?
Goodbye, and I love you. Bye.